So this is this week's parsha, the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, on the 17th day of the month. On this day, all the springs, the well springs of the great deep, were split, opened up, and the windows of the heavens opened up. So the rain came from two directions, from the wells of the great deep and from the heavens. So there's a famous teaching, a prophecy in the Zohar, and you have it there on the paper in front of you on the table, or the last thing on the, in the Zohar. It is written in the Zohar, in the 6th century of the 6th millennium. Stop. The pasuk, the verse says, the 600th year of Noah's life. So the Zohar says that's hinting to a prophecy in the 6th century of the 6th millennium. That is the year 1740. The 6th millennium begins at the year 5000. We're entering now the 6th millennium. We're now 5786. So the year 5000 started the 6th millennium. The 6th century is 5500. We're entering the 6th century. So the verse says, in the 600th year of Noah's life was this great flood of water from above and from below. Continue the prophecy. In the big picture, the 6th century of the 6th millennium, the portals of wisdom above and the fountains of wisdoms below will be opened. The world will be flooded with knowledge, both a godly knowledge and an earthly knowledge. This is alluded to in the words which you just read. In the 600th year of the life of Noah, all the fountains of the great depths burst forth, and the windows of heaven opened up. The Zohar plainly means that the gates of the wisdoms or sciences in general, that's the earthly water, and of more essential and more important, the gates of the wisdoms of Torah in particular, that's the heavenly waters, will be opened at that time. And that's exactly what happened. So listen up. This prophecy was fulfilled and continues to be fulfilled. The great breakthroughs in science started at that time, the gravity and the electricity, the industrial revolution that followed, and the Baal Shem Tov appeared on the Jewish scene, the Great Revolution. It began to reveal the inner dimension of Torah, heavenly wisdom, Chassidus, the knowledge of God, which continues to be revealed in greater and greater measure through each Rebbe after him. The Zohar concludes, all of this is a preparation for Mashiach's coming. These two knowledges flooding the world prepare the world for Mashiach coming. And moreover, the two knowledges complement each other. Now, this imagery of water is the way the prophet Yeshayahu describes the Messianic era. It's a time when the world is filled with knowledge of God, like the water covers the ocean floor. The flood, which is 40 days, which is the measure of a mikveh to be kosher, needs 40 measures, called 40 measures. So the world then was purified and then dried, and now our job is to re-purify it through our mitzvahs and our example to the world, bringing it to a spiritual state of being submerged in spiritual water, which is when Mashiach comes. Now we're saying that these knowledges are integral to this. So just briefly to explain to you why. So that Chassidus is revealed now, the gates of heaven are revealed now in this juncture in history as a preparation for Mashiach. The answer is, why Chassidus revealed now? There's levels to the answer, but the deepest answer is because what is Mashiach all about? It's knowing and understanding God. The world is filled with God. The whole world's going to be enlightened and know Hashem and see Him in everything. That's what Chassidus is getting to know God, the author of Torah, the purpose of creation, the soul, and knowing God, and then internalizing that knowledge and seeing it in life. It's a foretaste of Mashiach. Like on Shabbos, on Friday, we are obligated. It's a mitzvah to taste of the foods before Shabbos, to acclimatize, to prepare, to create the appetite and bridge between the weekday and Shabbos. So too, Chassidus is revealed in the Friday afternoon of history, quite literally. This is the Friday after. This is the when you hit the year 5,000, you're entering the Friday of history, because each 1,000 years is a day. So now halfway through Friday, the Baal Shem Tov appeared at midday and started to reveal Chassidus. Now we're 3/4 way through Friday. The Rebbe revealed deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and gave us the mission to disseminate it to the whole world. This is the time to spread these teachings, enlightenment, as a bridge to redemption, which is momentary. Shabbos comes in not at night. Shabbos comes in 18 minutes before even sundown, and you can bring it even earlier than that. And that's where the time we're in right now, where the cosmic Shabbos, it's any moment in our hands to bring Shabbos in. And we're given the tools for it, and the tools is Yiddishkeit in general, Torah mitzvahs, and specifically the windows of the sky that opened up, and the inspiration about God and divine providence and the Neshama, the answer to all the deepest questions in life. It's all in Chassidus that inspires and enlightens. That's what's given now to prepare us and the world for Mashiach. Science is also part of it on two levels. First of all, science enables the dissemination of Torah. The Rebbe spoke about this when they first started giving the shiurim of Chassidus on the radio. And then the Rebbe's Farbrengens, which would take place during the week, are on radio in New York City. If it's on radio, you can pick it up in the whole world. I mean, the whole Orthodox world was like aghast. On radio, the Rebbe said, that's why there's a radio. And the television and the internet. Yeah, that's why it's here, is to disseminate a button and to disseminate the Torah, the truth, in an instant to the whole world. The truth is radio waves that the whole world, the whole universe can pick it up if you have a sensitive instrument. So now I'm saying, why science? Because science is a means by which to be able to disseminate Torah. Aside from all the other benefits of modern science, healing, etc., it's all like a foretaste of Mashiach. Long life, science is even entertaining eternal life. There's a gene, there's an aging gene. Why should there be? It's a corruption. It's being entertained and looked at. Science is already beginning all of these things, traveling on the wings of, on the clouds of heaven, airplanes, all the things that describe the Messianic era are happening literally in many ways through science. The discoveries of science all happened in this very fertile period. That was the time it happened, in the 6th century, as prophesied by the Zohar, and many other aspects of science. But much more than that. Another thing, for example, 2,000 years ago, 3,000, the Torah says you're being recorded, an eye that sees, an ear that hears. You have to believe in it. Today, camera, from the end of the world can see exactly what you're doing. And it's all recorded, and it's all there. So things that we had to take on faith, science made it easier to see. So many things in Torah. But it's much deeper than that. Science is part of the process because science, especially quantum physics, is pointing to deeper and deeper. Everything is all one. The core of everything, there's one unified theory. It used to be that science thought that the world is made of X amount of elements, and that's it. And they're all gyrate and they're all connected in a harmonious way. But now we're seeing on the quantum physics level that it's way deeper than that. And there is chaos. We're not going into details now. External level, then there's an essential level, the subatomic level that unites it all. It's somewhat mysterious. That's all pointing to the force of God. That's the one force behind and unites everything. This is literally quantum physics, the oneness of creation and the one essence that's indefinable, that's beyond time. Quantum physics today has revealed that there's communication between particles beyond the speed of light that was thought unthinkable. Unthinkable speed of light's the fastest. I mean, instantaneous correspondence. There's all experiments that they divide particles at subatomic level, dividing the end of the world. They're able to do this. And they were behaving in a certain pattern. And then you spin one way, instantaneously the other one responds. But faster than the speed of light, how could that communicate? There's some force that's deeper than that connects them. I'm just speaking words I don't fully understand, but I heard these lectures. And it's all pointing to the oneness of, it's all integrated, the oneness of all of existence. But even before that, just understanding the world, the distance of the sun and how everything feeds, the whole, what's the word for it? Even in nature, it's an integrated, this word for it, it's an integrated system, how one thing contributes to the other, one thing is dependent on the other, interdependence of all aspects of life. Nothing's living independently, clashing. On the contrary, this is before quantum physics. There's a deep harmony that points to the one creator of it all. And endless mysteries that science is unraveling and pointing to oneness, integration, etc., all pointing to God. So it's not just that science is a means by which to do so much good, to heal and to spread Torah, etc. It's its very teachings itself is a teaching of oneness. So this is just a basic teaching that we need to know. So Chassidus Chabad, other prophecies in the Zohar. There's another prophecy that says that before Mashiach comes, Elijah told us to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai about his work, the Zohar, that this book that you wrote, the time will come, it'll be understood. Understood intellectually, be internalized. That's Chassidus Chabad, which is not just believing in it and connecting to it instinctually, and somehow it fires the imagination, but it's understood with questions and answers, really internalized. That's Chassidus Chabad. That's the final preparation to internalize godliness. That's the time we're in right now. So, in case you don't know, what is Chabad all about? What's the mission of Chabad? Chabad's mission is, at the core, is to disseminate the soul of Torah, as prophesied here in the Zohar, the teachings, the heavenly teachings, to all Jews in the whole world. And with that, of course, comes observance, Yiddishkeit, everything follows. So it's just about being makar of drawing Jews near to Judaism. But it's not enough. Not enough. It's to connect the Jew and inspire and enlighten him with the deepest teachings of heavenly knowledge, which is critical to Mashiach's coming. It's the bridge to Mashiach's coming. It's the whole purpose of creation. That's why creation began at the outset, covered under water. That's symbolically the world submerged in knowledge of God. Now we're going to get back there spiritually through our effort. Along the way, there was the flood because it was a big fall. So we've got to kind of reset. The flood was a reset going back to, but that's God's, it's part of the plan. There's going to be distractions, going to be falls, but that's only going to lead to a greater unity, a greater cleansing, a deeper relationship. That's what's going on. So what we're doing right now, MTC, teaching Hasidus, the idea is to learn about God, the soul, the divine, and share it with others. Final word on the subject. This is like the bread and butter of Chabad. This is a letter. This letter exists. The Baal Shem Tov wrote a letter. It's a famous letter to his brother-in-law, Rabbi Gershon Kittever, and he writes to him like this. It was Rosh Hashanah, I forgot the year, and during davening, his soul ascended from portal to portal till he came to the chamber where Mashiach is, and he said, "When are you coming?" He's actually paraphrasing from the book of Daniel. When is Sir coming? And Mashiach said to him, when you will spread your wellsprings, also paraphrasing from the book of Daniel. When you spread your wellsprings outside, then I'm coming. That's the job, to spread the wellspring. Again, the metaphor of water. Again.
Well, Temple, though, is the father of all Hasidic saints.
Yeah.
And they don't all follow exactly the same thing.
Now they are. It took a while. It took a while for them to get it, but now they're all getting it. I just saw an amazing thing on that subject of other Hasidic groups now embracing and reaching out. Yeah, this is in Borough Park. You got to see this video. It's in Yiddish. Did you see the video? Yeah, Chassidische guy. It's all in Yiddish, and it's made for the Hasidic with his kids, with a little of an esrog, stopping a Jew on the street. It's a video. It's a promotional video to make a brucha, and he's telling the viewer, "This is the biggest pleasure." He has a slogan: "Let's get out there and do it." So it's happening. It's happening. And just another thing, what's happening in the world today in Israel. So I remember as a kid that ever came out with a tefillin campaign. Again, the Orthodox world was, you're putting tefillin on. This Jew eats treif and didn't wash nagavas in the morning, and the next day he's not going to put it on. It's an embarrassment to the tefillin. It's a shame for the tefillin. The crazy Lubavitches. It was really, in the early days, was very, very strong opposition. Now it's huge. There's a huge campaign in Israel. A huge campaign. I've got the organization. And that if Jews want to put on tefillin, you can sponsor tefillin for soldiers, for people, and then putting up booths. And would have imagined this. Is October 7th did this. October 7th did this, tragically. So all the things that we were fighting for, the end now become obvious. Let's all do it. And it concludes with a little story on this. I think I told you a story a few weeks ago. So out of Shabbos, very quickly, we get a phone call. Can a couple stay by us? Yehuda Pal is a Satmar Chassid. He's a very big community worker, member of the Vadair. And he's in the rehab on Kotzeluk Road, off the Julius Richardson. So his daughter and son wanted to go to Shabbos. They found out through Baruch Yoel that we live in walking distances. So of course, come. Anyway, so this fella is learning in Köln now for 50 years. All of Yehuda Pal's daughters married guys learning. He supports them, whatever it is. It's the whole life. So he was here for Shabbos. He actually, the meals he went to eat with, but he davened here Shabbos morning, and he was here Shabbos morning. So after Shabbos, they're leaving. He says, I want to tell you, this is what this guy tells me. He just says Satmar. He's not like hardcore Satmar, but he comes from Williamsburg. But he's also learned in Brisk. He's been around. He says, I'm not engaged in the world. I don't have such a phone. He has what they have, the flip phones, no smartphone. He says, I know from nothing, just from Torah. He teaches, he gives classes. So I want to tell you, and I'm quoting him. I came into your Beis Medrash, he says, here I felt Mashiach. He looked around, he realized, and he's asked me where these people from. Most of them were not from non-observant backgrounds, etc. And he says, here I felt Mashiach. And he heard me speak on Shabbos morning, and he says, I want you the world. Our world is thirsting for this. He says, you're so fortunate that you have these teachings. He says, I am learning it. I go to Fabrengens here and there, and he's learning. He's starting to learn Tanya. He says, we're going through the motions, but there's such a thirst for the soul of it all. How fortunate you that you have it. And he's telling me that it's infiltrating, and people are seeking it, etc. As Ronnie said, it wasn't happening, but now it's happening. It's happening at a very fast rate. Nossi can tell you stories from his own family, from his own experience. It's happening like rapidly in these last moments of exile. And those words to me, you're so fortunate that you have Hasidus. And we're reaching out to it. And there are guys like Y.Y. Jacobson that is really doing a great job in bringing Hasidus there to this world. Okay, so this is all Parshas Noach. That's a great prophecy. The Zohar, written 2,000 years ago, that prophesies what's going to happen 1,500 years later, the explosion of knowledge in the world that will change rapidly everything, physically and spiritually, science and Chassidus. Okay, I went through to the next subject, but it's already 5:2, so we'll just do one more small thing. So the end of the story of the flood, so Hashem promised he's not going to give a flood anymore, there's going to be a rainbow. And the rainbow is the sign of God's covenant not to destroy the world with a flood. So the question is a very simple question. But a rainbow is a natural phenomenon that happens when there's vapor in the air and the sun is shining. So there's no rainbow before. So it's already late, but briefly, what happens physically is a reflection of what happens spiritually. The rainbow is the water that rises, the mist that's in the air, the water that rises, and it's reflected. These colors are in light, in the sun. It's refracted in the drops, the tiny drops in the atmosphere. What does this mean spiritually? The sun represents revelation from above. The water that the atmosphere that ascends is rising from below. First descends and then rises from below. Before the flood, in the words of our sages, the world was sustained by divine kindness. God is providing. After the flood, God says, a relationship begins. It's got to be from below to above. You have to develop the world. You've got to refine the world. not just recipients of my grace. And that's the rainbow. The rainbow is where the world itself unlocks the sun's lights and hues and colors. It's symbolic of our avodah, from below to above, elevating the world, and that's what the whole purpose is. So it's a whole journey. There's a revelation from above that was abused, and then there was a flood, a cleansing, and now starts man's earnest work, mitzvah by mitzvah, refining the world. And that's the rainbow, that from below, what are we doing? We're revealing, which was not obvious in the light before. But how? From our work. That's the meaning. So it didn't happen before because that wasn't the spiritual reality dynamic. It was all from above. Now that the avodah, the work, starts from below, the rainbow emerges. That's representative of man's contribution. Okay, this needs more elaboration. That's briefly. Go now for Shachris. Good Shabbos, everybody. Good to see you all.